Okay, we continue with chapter 13, game theory and strategic competition. We look at the use of threats in strategic games. In this case here, table 13.1, the 13.11. Firm 1 produces personal computers that can be used as both word processors and do other tasks. Firm 2 produces only dedicated word processors. So that means Firm 2's product is inferior to Firm 1. So let's check whether Firm 1 has a dominant strategy. By charging high price for its product, it's going to earn 180, to low price is 20 and 10. So Firm 1 dominant strategy will be high price. Firm 2 high price 80 and 10, low price strategy is 120. So it has a dominant strategy of low price. Okay, the outcome will be low price, high price, so the outcome will be here in a pure strategic world. Alright, but what if Firm 1 is not happy with Firm 2 and they threaten to charge low price for their product, which is, remember, their product is more superior. Firm 2 is inferior. So what if Firm 1 decides to go against the dominant strategy and charge low price? Then the outcome will be, so Firm 2 has got to decide. If Firm 1 is going with low price, so Firm 2 has got to decide to go with high price or low price. The decision will be between 0 and 20. So decision will be here. So this is decision under that threat. Okay. This is a decision under pure strategy. This is just your Nash equilibrium just now, but this is Nash equilibrium with threat. But the question is, do you believe the threat? Is the threat credible? Would it make sense for Firm 1 to go ahead with that threat, which is to produce at a low price for something that is superior? And in that case, Firm 1 will only earn 10, whereas Firm 2 is still going to earn more than them because their product is actually cheaper to produce. So the answer to this question is that it's very unlikely because the threat is not credible. Okay, so they're better off high price, low price. Here, they're better off with the Nash equilibrium again, because at least, even though Firm 2 earns more, but Firm 1 here will earn 80. Okay. Right. Another case, just to keep on practicing on your bit of matrix. Production choice problem. Far out engines produce engines. Race car motors produce cars. But you have to produce small engines for small cars. Big engines would fit into big cars. Okay. Now, let's say far out engines threaten to produce big cars, or big engines. Far out engine threaten to produce big engines. And if race car motors believe this threat, then it will decide to produce between big cars and small cars and big cars. Of course, it will decide to produce big cars, right? Because far out engine has threatened to produce big engines, so race cars will do well if it produces big cars. So the outcome here will be 8-3 if it believes the threat. But if he doesn't believe the threat, then the most advantage position for race car motors is this one just now, 6-1. This is the DS, because 0-3 is much more, is less. Race car would go for, race car motors would prefer to produce small cars. That's their dominant strategy. And if they do that, if the threat is not credible, the far out engine that does not have a dominant strategy just now will have to choose this one. Far out does not have dominant strategy because it's 3-3 and 1-8. So this will be the Nash equilibrium with non-credible threat. The threat is there, it's made, but it's not a credible threat. Okay, or at least race car motors do not believe it. Now, in this case, the modified production choice, again, far out engine makes a threat that it will produce big engines. Okay, so big race car motor, again between 1-1 and 8-3 will of course choose 8-3. Right, so this is the threat, and you believe the threat. What if you decide and you don't have a choice, because it depends on far out engine's reputation as a guy who is going to do or carry out a threat even if it has to suffer losses. Okay, so it doesn't mind suffering losses as long as it has a reputation of being very aggressive, that will make good of its threat. So it's better for you to just take this option, which is 8-3. How can that be done? By visibly and irreversibly reducing some of its own payoff in the metric. For example, in this case, they do not produce small engines at all, regardless of what happens. So therefore, they will carry out this threat that they want to produce big engines, and race car motors will not have any more supplies of small engines. They're really serious about this. They want to produce only big engines. So between the two, if they are producing also small engines, then it is better off for race motors to produce big cars. Okay. Okay, table 13.13, complementary goods. Let's check dominant strategy. Firm 1, 40, 50, 65. No dominant strategy. Firm 2, 5, 40, 40, 50, 45. So there's a dominant strategy here. Okay, so what do? Firm 1, you decide based on what you think Firm 2 will do, which is follow the dominant strategy, and if it does, then your Firm 1 is better off by choosing this one, 50, 50. Between the two, better off to choose 50, 50. So that's the Nash equilibrium. Even without cooperation, you decide on this kind of outcome. But let's say there is another strategic game that they are playing, the same firms. They are also bargaining over another question. which is to to join a consortium or not. Okay, so these two cases are linked together. They involve the same firms to decide whether to work alone or enter a consortium. In this case, firm 1 has a dominant strategy or not, 10-10, 20-40. So the dominant strategy is to enter. And firm 2, 10-10 and 20-40. Firm 2 also dominant strategy to enter. Okay, then separately, the decision here will be to enter. Both companies will enter the consortium. Okay, but what if the two problems are linked to each other? And in this case here, firm 1 is not happy with the Nash equilibrium of 50-50. They want to get 60-40 equilibrium. Okay, so they want to produce B, 60-40. So they bargain with firm 2 that you must produce A, I produce B, if you want me to enter the consortium. Okay, so you see, firm 1 wants to produce B, firm 2 produce A. If you follow the Nash equilibrium, firm 2 produce B, firm 1 produce A, right? But they want to switch it because they prefer this outcome. So this outcome is used, the consortium decision is used as a threat or a bargaining chip with firm 2 in the context of the produce.